There's no better guy than my good buddy Chris Markowski, who joins us right now along with Frankie. He is the host of the Watchdog on Wall Street radio show. He's the president of Markowski Investments, and he joins me quite often, great friend of the show, to talk to you about what he sees out there and what's going on with your portfolio. What's up, guys?
Good afternoon.
Chris, thanks for joining.
No pizza for you? You didn't get the memo?
No, man, I'm doing that keto thing right now. I love pizza, but I can't have it right now.
Well, you can't do a gluten-free cauliflower style like Derek Tobacco?
No, but hey, it's not so bad. Keto, you get a lot of steak in there, and I'm fine with that.
All right. Well, we'll have to have you back on National Steak Party Day. Chris, the Dow has been basically middling around here. I thought the bargain basement bottom of real free market capitalism was around 18,000 and change, and the government started pumping about 10 trillion into the market. I think there's, like, me personally, I feel like there's 4,000 or 5,000 points of government fluff in there. How do you feel about this market right here looking forward?
I agree with you 110%. You know, that the Fed and the government stepping in, they definitely have helped the markets. There's no doubt about that. And it's very difficult to go ahead and fight that. And the reality is that a lot of the money hasn't even been utilized yet. It's just the actual threat that the Federal Reserve could step in and do whatever they want at this point in time. It's an anything goes type of a mentality that we have. So yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly that the markets, you can't fight the Fed. The markets shouldn't be where they are right now based upon the economy, the way that the jobs market is and everything that's going on out there. But how do you fight it?
Yeah, and I mean, me and you both know there's this old adage, don't fight the Fed. When you see the Fed coming in there, who knows, they could bowl you over. But I'm starting to feel more and more every day when I see, they're looking for another 3 trillion here, another 2 trillion there. Sensible people can look at individual companies here and realize that, at some point, the Fed doesn't have any more trillions. We're at like almost 10 trillion. It almost starts to me, chip away at the full faith and credit of the U.S. economy right now.
Well, that's what you just said there. The most important word was credit. The word credit, it comes from, you can go to Latin, credere, to believe. We can keep printing money. Fed can keep buying up bonds like they have been until they can't. You go back to 2010 and what happened in Portugal, Spain, and Greece is that all of a sudden people said, wait a second, I'm going to be lending money to Greece at the same rates that I'm lending money to Germany. It just makes no sense. Or, the money that they were borrowing. At some point in time, once people do not believe in the full faith and credit of the United States, that's when the whole house of cards falls apart. But you take a look at it, the opposite side, and all this stuff scares me, all this money printing that's going on. For lack of a better phrase, and I know it's not politically correct, we're the tallest midget in the room. And
right.
you look at the rest of the world, and they're negative interest rates, and they've had negative interest rates for years.
No doubt.
And it's still going on. So who knows where the bottom is? It's like an abyss right now, and it's very difficult for people to get their arms around.
I kind of feel like, to that end, in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. But it's only a matter of time before somebody pokes the eye out of the Fed. And I'm just looking at this thing. Me and you know how to break it down. So, I try to get it as simple as possible for people to understand. This is how I'm seeing it, Chris. The biggest companies in the S&P 500, the airlines, commercial real estate companies and stuff, they were already not doing phenomenal. They were hanging in there, right? Now they've been closed down, so this quarter's done. Even if they get back to work, if people start opening offices, everything's going to be at like a 50% occupancy. So I see for the foreseeable future till the year end that no one's even going to get back to 100% efficiency. So I can't imagine how stocks can improve on what optimism.
Well, you're talking about 100% efficiency in certain industries. There's a flip side to this. Again, I wouldn't touch commercial real estate with a 100-foot pole. You got to run, and you got to run fast away from that because businesses are recognizing, wait a second here. I can have this small of a footprint and continue to operate and have people work from homes. BMO Bank already said, hey, 80% of our workers just may not come back into the office. That's going to save them a fortune, not to mention the fact it could save them a fortune in paying people, saying, hey, would you like to move to Florida and not have to pay the state taxes that you have to pay in New York or Connecticut and New Jersey, and offer up options. So many businesses are going to do well based upon this. Commercial real estate, they're going to have to find a way to turn it into residential fast. And we already know they've been doing that in Manhattan for a long time now, as the footprint has continued to shrink with many of the big Wall Street firms. They're going to have to even push that even quicker, because who's going to take up the space? It makes no sense. They're going to be basically like scratching their heads. I got all these people working from home. They're actually more efficient. They don't have to commute in. Maybe they'll come in maybe 2-3 days a week or something to that nature, and they're going to run that way. So that can actually boost companies' bottom lines moving forward.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. I'm short Brookfield Asset Management. I'm short Simon Property Group, which is one of the largest publicly traded mall owners. I don't think they have any chance of coming back. But I also saw this thing yesterday from my buddy Charles Gasparino. He had a scoop where he said Wall Street headhunters are saying big banks are accelerating hiring outside of New York City, Denver, Nashville, Jacksonville, Austin. A trend will have major implications for New York City real estate and employment footprint for big banks.
It's cheaper. You're going to hire somebody and you can say, hey, you know what? I don't have to pay. You got to come and live in New York City. I don't know, most people, you got people who watch this from all over the country. It's very expensive to live in the New York metropolitan area. It's not nearly as expensive to live in Tampa or Nashville or any of these other places. So guess what? You don't have to pay people as much based upon that cost of living, which is going to be great for these firms' bottom lines. We've already seen that happen. AllianceBernstein, they moved to Nashville, was it a couple of years ago, right out of Midtown. They said, hey, we're out of here.
Chris, let's talk short-term investors. You're the watchdog on Wall Street. Today in Washington, the House is set to pass this $3 trillion stimulus package. It's not expected to go really anywhere in the Senate. Do you expect this to have any sort of effect on investors one way or another today?
No, basically, if you want to think about it, the Journal made this point today as well. I've been talking about it. It's basically the DNC platform for 2021. Nancy Pelosi, again, watching Biden right now. And honestly, can I say this? Shame on Joe Biden. That's your husband. Okay. At some point in time, you might want to say enough is enough. You're supposed to be looking out for the guy. He obviously cannot handle this. I feel bad for him, for crying out loud. It's awful. But this is basically their platform. And if Joe Biden wins in the fall, for all intents and purposes, the president is, that's Nancy Pelosi. And Nancy Pelosi is going to be the president of the United States. And this is her platform. And I'm sorry, but Democrats are much more efficient when it comes to running Washington than the Republicans are. The first 2 years of Barack Obama's presidency, you take a look at all of the stuff that they got through. Donald Trump tried. He tried many things. Well, we got the tax cuts through it. He did get rid of regulations, but it wasn't near the amount of legislation and policy that the Democrats got through. So she's licking her chops right now. This is basically what we're going to have if Joe Biden wins in the fall.
All right, Chris, thanks a lot, bro. We're going to have to leave it there. Happy National Pizza Party today. Good luck with that keto.
I'm jealous. I'm jealous of you guys right now.
Markowski.
We're jealous of you for your physique, trust me.
Yeah, the hair, the physique, all that. That's why we're eating pizza on a Friday and you're all ketoed out.